guys, so welcome back to yet another video. In this video, we'll be trying to solve the problem 1705A in Codeforces, that is Mark the Photographer. So now to summarize this, you will be given the height of some people, okay, and you're supposed to say if the height between any two people of all the people in the array is beyond a certain amount or not, okay. And if it is beyond a certain height limit, you are supposed to output yes, otherwise you're supposed to output no. Now I'll explain this much better with an example. So let me open up the whiteboard. So here we'll accept A and B, okay. Let this be A and let this be B. Now what A and B is, A is the amount of people that is standing in the first row, okay. So like we'll have a first row consisting of A people, in this case first person, second person and the third person. We'll also have a second row consisting of A people, okay. So in total 6 people are there, okay. So now those are the values given here, the height of the 6 people. And B stands for the minimum height difference. So basically the minimum height difference between any two people in the first and second row should be 6 or more than 6. Now if it is not 6, or like if it's less than 6, you're supposed to output no, as I showed you some time back. Otherwise you can output yes, okay. So now on how to solve this, the first thing we'll have to do is we have to sort the array, okay. We have to sort the array. Now this array is already sorted, but there is no guarantee that the array will be sorted, okay, because it's not specified. So once you sort the array, you will get something like this, right? So basically what we can do is that from the mid of the array, we can place the people in the first and second row. So now if you see the mid, this is the mid of the array, right over here. So now the people in the second half, I can place them in the first row. So 10, 12 and 16. And the people in the first half, I can place them in the second row, right? So it will be something like this. Now you have to just check as if, if their height difference is more than or equal to 6 or not. Here if you see, their height difference is equal to 9, which is more than 6. Here their height difference is equal to 12, 9 again. And here the height difference is equal to 7. Now you can see in all these cases their height difference is more than 6, right? So we can output yes as the answer. So the basic logic here is that you're supposed to sort the array and split the array into one half. Into two halves, okay? And you're supposed to subtract the elements. So now say this is our first half and this is our second half. You're just supposed to subtract the first elements of both the halves and make sure that they are equal to 6 or more than 6 in this case, okay. So you subtract 10 with 1, you subtract this with this, and you subtract this with this, 16 with 9. You have to just make sure that the difference between all of them should be more than or equal to 6, and if it is, you can output yes. So now that's the basic logic as to how to solve this. Now let's try and code the solution out. Okay, so now let's see how to solve it. Now we'll first be accepting A, B and C, which will be the input we need. So now A will basically stand for the amount of people in each row, B will stand for the minimum height difference, and C will just be a variable that will allow us to accept heights into our height array. So now we'll have a vector, as I just mentioned now, for heights, and we can just make a for loop to add the elements into the array, okay. Now here, just remember, I should be less than the double of A. Now why that is, we are accepting the heights of people both in the first and the second row, right? Whereas A basically stands for the amount of people in a single row. So we have to do the double of A. Then we can just input C and just push that into the array. Okay, and that's basically it. Now after this, what we have to do is we have to sort the array. So now sort n dot begin and n dot end. Now after that, we'll be using like two variables over here. A variable called start, which will be 0. I'll explain what this does in a moment, and also a variable called check. So now check is basically used to inform us as to if any two height pairs in the height array is not satisfying the minimum height. Now if it is not satisfying the minimum height, we can just output no, right? So now check will be used to check that. Now start, I will explain what that's used for in a minute. Okay, now we'll have a for loop. Int I is equal to, I'll use A here, and I less than the double of A again, and I plus plus. Okay, so now just to explain what I did right here, I'll just take this example. Okay, now after you sort the array, okay, let me just go forward. After you sort the array, it will look something like this, right? Now as I said, we'll split the array into two halves. So now the start variable we use here will be to iterate over the first half of the array. Okay, and this for loop, which I'm starting from A, which is over here, it will be used to iterate over the second half of the array. Okay, so now we have to subtract the elements, right, and check as to if they meet the minimum height difference or not. So we'll basically subtract this from this. So I'll just explain how that's done. So if n of I, which is this element right here, minus n of start. Now since start is 0, it is this element. Now if that is less than b, which is the minimum height, I have to put check as 1. So check being 1 basically says that it does not satisfy the minimum height, and we can just break. And we have to increment start, because it has to go to the index of the next element. Like only then can this element be subtracted by this element, right, and so on. Now after this is basically done, all we have to do is to check the value of start. So if check is equal to 1, as I said, a pair does not satisfy the minimum height difference, we can just output no. Otherwise we can just output yes, and that's basically it. Let's save it. I'll just copy the input here. Let's see what happened. Looks like, okay, forgot semicolon. Let's try again. So now here the output is supposed to be yes, no, yes. Let's check. Where there's something wrong with this. Let's check if I mess up entering something in. Oh, I should not accept C. Okay, C will be used later to accept the array. That was a mistake. Let's try again. Okay, there you go. Yes, no, yes. And that's how you solve this. Anyways, I'll just submit it to make sure. Copy and go to the submit option and submit it. Hopefully this works. Let's reload. It's running on test 1 and it's accepted. So now that's how you solve this problem. If you have any recommendations for me to solve any other questions on Codeforces or LeetCode, please do leave them down in the comment section below. And that's it for this video, and see you next time. Bye.